Maybe, okay, well, here you have Sam.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
that's the tag team right there.
I wonder, Sam, talk to us.
Yeah, my man, Fred.
Hey, Sam.
Oh my God, the dead has risen. What the hell is going on October 9th?
Can you hear me, guys? Because I don't know if you can.
We can hear you.
All right, man. Doing a great job moderating, and I praise God for David Wood. Another fantastic performance. I pray the Lord blesses this brother. He's a soldier. Amazing. The glory to God for his performance. And I'm going to be nice to Shabir, because I like Shabir too. So, but I have a question, one for Shabir. And if I have time for David, I will. If not, that's okay. I'll just go back in line. So I'm going to ask my question for Shabir. He alluded to Matthew 7:15 and 20 in order to prove Jesus is the last, not the last prophet, because Jesus gives a criterion or a criteria to distinguish true prophets from false prophets. This is Matthew 7:15 and 20. That's what he alluded to. And that's where Jesus says, watch out for false prophets. You shall know them by their fruit. If they bear bad fruit, then obviously they're false prophets. Assumption, that means they're also going to be true prophets. Now, put aside the fact that this is the same gospel that in Matthew 23:34, same gospel, mind you, where Jesus says, therefore I am sending you prophets and sages and teachers, Matthew 23:34, which goes hand in hand with what David said, that Jesus sends a comforter. So ergo, if Muhammad is this true prophet, apparently, then Jesus is his God. But put that aside. Here's my question for Shabir, because the same criteria that he appealed to, how to distinguish a true prophet from a false prophet, says, you'll know a false prophet by their fruit. I'd like Shabir to explain to me whether this is good or bad fruit. According to Sahih Bukhari, and this is found in Sahih Muslim, the two Sahihain, and this is based on Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 87. So I give him the reference so he doesn't think I'm making this up. Sahih Bukhari, volume 7, book 62, number 52, which you can read online. Book 62, number 52, and Sahih Bukhari, volume 7, book 62, number 13-0. This is now explaining Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 87. What does it say? It says this basically, that Allah's apostle said, if a man and a woman agree to marry temporarily, their marriage shall last for 3 nights, and if they like to continue, they can do so. And if they want to separate, they can do so. Well, what this is referring to, it's referring to Mutah, temporary marriage, where a person contracts marriage for, let's say, 3 days, 2 days, whatever, gives the person a sum of money with the intention of divorcing her after he's satisfied himself sexually. I want Shabir to justify the morality of this practice, which in today's world would be called prostitution. Isn't that fruit that reeks from hell? So, Shabir, maybe you can justify that. Go ahead, I'll listen. I'll come back with another question.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam, for calling. This passage that you cited from the Quran, obviously by itself does not say that people can marry temporarily. In fact, the Quran on many issues leaves many things to the discretion of people and does not give absolute detail right down to the very bottom and final nitty-gritty of things. Many of the details that Muslims are aware of come from the Hadith literature and other writings from Muslim scholars and interpretations that have been given over time. You cited Sahih al-Bukhari. It does not mean that because a thing is mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, that means that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, definitely said this. Mean that because a thing is mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, that means that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, definitely said this. Mean that because a thing is mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, that means that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, definitely said this.
There is a general consensus amongst all the scholars of the Muslim Ummah from the time and until today so far, that the book of Al-Imam al-Bukhari, the collection of ahadith which Al-Imam al-Bukhari collected, is considered to be the most sound book after the Quran.
We know that among the early Muslims there were people referred to in the Quran as munafiqeen, as hypocrites. They could have circulated things which were not true, and other Muslims, not knowing them to be hypocrites, could have taken them to be true. So when David says that there is something, when the criterion of embarrassment is used, that Muslims would not have invented this, Muslims, some people who were passing off as Muslims at the time could have actually invented things. There were also different interpretations of things, and people justified their own interpretations by foisting sayings back on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and circulated these as though they were his sayings. So the same work we do with the Gospels to try to reconstruct the original sayings of Jesus, on whom be peace, we need to do with the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace as well. When it comes to temporary marriage, the Sunni Muslim scholars say that this is not allowed and that is akin to adultery and fornication, whereas the Shia scholars allow it. And the passages that you cited, if you correctly cited them, I'm not familiar with these, then this would reflect that view. And the fact that it's found in a Sunni book does not mean that it cannot have supported an early view, which later on Sunnis would not come to accept.
Fear Allah, ya munafiq. It says you can take a married woman and have sex with her. It doesn't say she has to be divorced if she's your captive. So would your mother be okay? Let me ask you the question again. Would your mother be okay? I take her from your father and I say, hey, I don't care you're alive, you're married. She's my wife. I'm going to have sex with her. Nah, 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 nah. You'd be okay with that?
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed the beginning of the end. Good night from Detroit.
Because the thing is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, that means that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, definitely said this.
The book of Al-Imam al-Bukhari, the collection of ahadith which Al-Imam al-Bukhari collected, is considered to be the most sound book after the Quran.
God, the dead has risen. What the hell is going on? On October 9th.